The first one that we learn is that compassionate parents are teachers. It says in verse 6 and 7, the Lord works righteousness and justice for all who are oppressed. He made known his ways to Moses, his acts to the people of Israel. God is a teacher. He gave us the law so that we would know what he wanted us to do. The Apostle Paul said, I would not have known what coveting was if the law had not said, do not covet. And he taught us who he is. Apart from his teaching, we wouldn't know. And the description that David gives of God in this psalm was first taught to Moses. So in the Exodus, after the people of God rebel with the golden calf, and the first stone tablets were broken, Moses returns to God's presence again. Show me your presence, he asks. God puts him in the cleft of the rock, puts up his hand and says, I will show you the end of my glory, and I will declare my name. And then this is what God tells Moses. The Lord, a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness, keeping steadfast love for thousands, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin. There he reveals who he is to Moses. He teaches him that he is a loving, all-forgiving God. Now, we as parents are supposed to teach our children, but we always don't do such a good job. Imagine that you are in the kitchen preparing a meal, and your 5-year-old son or daughter are playing in another room. And then suddenly everything is quiet. And you go to the other room, and there is your son or daughter drawing on the wall. And he's using a permanent marker. This is what you might say. Why are you drawing on the wall? Don't you know any better? And look, this is a permanent marker. You should know that this does not come off the wall. We're going to have to get special paint to cover this. Don't you know? Now, if your son or daughter was very wise for their age, they would say, why, no, Mom, you've never taught me that. Often in our corrections, we assume our children should know things that we have never actually taught them. And there's no more important thing to teach them than about God. We would not know God if the Lord did not teach us. And your children will not know God if you don't teach them. And it can be a great challenge. I remember as my children were growing up, I saw the big, thick study Bible sitting on the table. I said, where do I begin? How do I do that? And I was the children's pastor. I thought, if I don't know, then none of my people know either. And so I began a study, writing devotions for my family beginning in Genesis all the way through Revelation. I typed them all out and I put them on a computer disk. And I made copies for all the families of our church. And then one of the fathers came to me and said, we have to always be printing these out. Why don't you create a book? So we self-published the devotion. And then New Growth Press, a Christian publisher, got that and decided to publish it so the whole United States would have those devotions. The Old Testament part is long story short. The New Testament, old story new. I wanted to make the devotions short. It only takes 10 minutes a day. And I put questions there that you can ask your children. And because I know dads are so busy, I even included the answer. So your children will think you have all the answers. And then at the end of each devotion, a short suggestion on a way that you can pray as a family. So if you're like me and you don't know where to begin, I have done all the hard work for you. But the toughest job is up to you. Now, if I said, raise your hand if you think family devotions are important, everyone would raise their hand. But if I said, be honest, how many does them every day? I would see very few hands. I would not be able to raise my hand for that second question, because I myself have failed often more than I've succeeded. But the Bible gives us great hope. We read in Proverbs, the righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets up. Failure is not falling. Failure is the man who falls but refuses to get up again. So if you have fallen away from doing family devotion, be the righteous man and get up and try again. And if you're unsure as to what you should do, God wants to encourage you today that you can be teachers. So compassionate parents are first teachers.